Hello everybody, we are having another live because we got in new. We got 2 boxes of books. I got 2 boxes of books. So, let's get those open, shall we? First box is open. Put this on this desk. Taking this in before it gets in the way. Now let's give you a bird's eye view of what is in there. Mirror this so you can actually read what the books are. So these are coming soon to the Clinton Public Library soon. They'll be on the shelves after they get done through the cataloging. This is the first one. And it looks like it is a romance. Nonfiction. Woman, The American History of an Idea by Lillian Faderman. Lillian Faderman is a award-winning gender and sexuality scholar. So, it's going to be interesting. The Ravenous Dead by Darcy Coates. Kara hired as Blighty Graveyard's new housekeeper, lives surrounded by the dead. They watch her through the fog. They wordlessly cry out. They've been desperately waiting for help moving on, and only Kara can hear them. But not every restless spirit wants to be saved. Sometimes the dead hate the living too much to find peace. As Kara struggles to uncover the tangled histories of some of the graveyard's oldest denizens, danger seeps from the darkest edges of the forest. A vicious serial killer was interred among the trees decades before, his spirit twisted by his violent nature. He's furious, ravenous, and when Kira unwittingly answers his call, she may just seal her fate as his final intended victim. I do believe this is a sequel? This might be a sequel, because it sounds familiar. Yeah, this is Gravekeeper number 2. The first one is The Whispering Dead, and I do believe we have that one because I've seen it. We don't have it in physical. I might be in ebook format. Just a reminder to everyone, we're no longer E&D in the Digital Consortium. We are Indiana Digital Library on Libby, so adjust your devices as needed. Why is there a Christmas book in March? Okay. Christmas on the Coast. Yet another romance, I think. Yep, I think it's another romance. Yep, not my cup of tea. Oh, the new Stuart Woods book, a Stone Barrington novel. safe house. Stone Barrington is looking forward to some quiet time in New York City until he is asked to transport precious top-secret cargo across the Atlantic. Taking the challenge, Stone flies off unaware of what or who he is bringing with him. We got 2 copies of that one. 2 copies of that one. So if you are into this series, the Stone Barrington, we can get you on the list for him, because I have a feeling the reason we got 2 is because it is very popular. Scarlet in Blue by Jennifer Murphy. For Blue Lake's entire life, she and her mother, Scarlet, have been on the run from him, the man who Scarlet, a talented, enigmatic painter, insists is chasing them. But now, at 15 years old, Blue has begun to resent the nomadic life that once seemed like an adventure. Increasingly unsure what to make of the phantom pursuer she's never seen, she yearns to settle down in one place to live a normal life. It seems that Blue's wishes might finally come true when Scarlet and Blue arrive at in the beachfront town of South Haven, Michigan. She makes friends, is falling in love for the first time, and has found a piano teacher who recognizes her budding talent. But even as Blue thrives, she cannot shake her worry about her mother, who seems to be creating paintings that are increasingly difficult to understand. Scarlet, meanwhile, has very different intentions for their stay in South Haven. It was no accident she brought them there, and with the help of the psychoanalyst she sought out, Henry, she is determined to find a way to finally escape the shadow of her traumatic past, no matter the cost. This next one is another Harlan Coben, from the creator of the Netflix drama Stay Close, The Match. Link. After months away, Wilde has returned to the Ramapo Mountains in the wake of a failed bid at domesticity. It confirms what he's known all along: he belongs on his own, free from the comforts and constraints of modern life. Suddenly, a DNA match on an online ancestry database brings Wilde closer to his past than he's ever dreamed, and finally gives Wilde the opening he needs to track down his father. But meeting the man brings up more questions than answers, so Wilde reaches out to his most desperate lead, a second cousin who disappears as quickly as he resurfaces, having experienced an epic fall from grace that can only be described as a walking nightmare. I do believe this is part of a series, maybe? Maybe? I don't know, but this is the book. How do you people find me? Oh, never mind, we're doing an unboxing. We're almost done with the first box. Just got 2 more left, and then we will open the big box. And these will all be available on our shelves sometime soon. Beyond Innocence, The Life Sentence of Daryl Hunt. It's a nonfiction biography, it looks like. In June 1985, a young black man in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, named Daryl Hunt was falsely convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the rape and murder of a white copy editor at the local paper. Many in the community believed him innocent and crusaded for his release, even as subsequent trials and appeals reinforced his sentence. Finally, in 2003, the tireless efforts of his attorney, combined with an award-winning series of articles by Phoebe Zerwick in the Winston-Salem Journal, led to the DNA evidence that exonerated Hunt. 3 years later, the acclaimed documentary, The Trials of Daryl Hunt, made him known across the country and brought his story to audiences around the world. But Hunt's story was far from over. So, that's what this is all about. Our next book in our unboxing is The Unsinkable Greta James by Jennifer E. Smith. Sorry, I have it on mirror and I'm still getting used to the weird mirroring thing. An indie musician reeling from tragedy and a public down, reconnects with her father on a week-long cruise in this pitch-perfect story about the ways we recover and love in the strangest places. So, these will be available on our shelves sometime soon, as soon as they get through cataloging and their release dates are here. We don't put a book on a shelf unless, release date is here. So that is the first one. If you guys have any questions or anything, just pop them into the chat and I'll get to them. But right now I'm putting these back in the box so I can move on to the second box. Okay, now for box number 2. It's the bigger box. It's from Baker and Taylor. That's one of the, book warehouses that we get our books from. Another one we use, I know, is Ingram. So, you might have heard of those names. If you haven't, that's just who we get our books from. And we go slicey slicey. You guys a better view of. Yeah. Slicey slicey. Slicey slicey and slicey slicey. Sorry, I'm having issues with my camera. And still me getting used to the whole mirroring thing. And the petals. Oh. And once again, we are getting Christmas book in March. Here is the books. Mini books. Mini books. A Brush with Love. So definitely a romance. Not my thing. You guys might like it though. Not me. Another Christmas in Rose Bend, with a grieving ER nurse with her sullen teen half-sister Ivy. And still reeling from her mother's deathbed confession, Nessa's dad wasn't really her dad. So it looks like it might be a romance too. It's definitely a Christmassy time one, which confuses me, but okay. Shannon McGuire, Spelunking Through Hell, A Visitor's Guide to the Underworld, an encrypted novel. We have this series, actually. And it was nominated for the 2020 Hugo, the series was nominated for the 2020 Hugo Award for Best Series. It's been 50 years since the Crossroads caused the disappearance of Thomas Price, his wife Alice, and his wife Alice has been trying to find him and bring him home ever since, despite the increasing probability that he is no longer alive for her to find. Now that the Crossroads have been destroyed, she's redoubling her efforts. It's time to bring him home, dead or alive. So, look at the pretty artwork. Whoever it is who does the cover art. Come on. I know that you usually put the cover art design, cover illustration by Alistair Bell. They do awesome cover work. They do awesome artwork. Oh, you thick boy. Well, the large print version of a book I talked about not that long ago, Dolly Parton and James Patterson, Run, Rose, Run. This is the large print version. We have people lining up for when this one and the regular ones get out on the shelf. I think there's a list. Just a reminder, all these books will be out on our shelves as soon as we get them through cataloging and their release dates come, because we don't put books out on shelf until the release date. If they're already released, then they go right on out after cataloging is done. A Novel Obsession by Caitlin Barash. Some of these names. 24-year-old New York bookseller Naomi Ackerman is desperate to write a novel but struggles to find a story to tell. When, after countless disastrous dates, she meets Caleb, a perfectly nice guy with a Welsh accent and a unique patience for all her quirks. She thinks she's finally stumbled onto the time-honored subject love. Then Caleb's ex-girlfriend, Rosemary, enters the scene. Upon learning that Rosemary is not safely tucked away in Caleb's homeland overseas, but in fact lives in New York and also works in the literary world, Naomi is threatened and intrigued in equal measure. If they both fell for the same man, what else might they have in common? The more Naomi learns about Rosemary, the more her curiosity consumes her. Before she knows it, her casual Instagram stalking morphs into friendship under false pretenses and becomes the subject of her nascent novel. As her lies and half-truths spiral out of control and fact and fiction become increasingly difficult to untangle, Naomi must decide what and who she's willing to sacrifice to write the perfect ending. So, that's interesting. Tomorrow Lush, Drive, Can Love Take the Checkered Flag? Savannah Savvy Jenkins is no stranger to crude comments and leering looks as she gets at the track. Out to prove that she can succeed in a man's world, she joins Formula World Champion Dante Annunziata's crew. Dante is determined to finish his season on top, and Savvy is a distraction he doesn't need. Convinced Savvy has no business on the team, Dante is prepared to do anything to get her off. But when a paparazzo catches the pair in a compromising position, Dante and Savvy are in for a romance for the ages. As their fake attraction turns real, they realize that there may be more to life than simply speeding through it. Fake dating trope with race cars. Lee Tobin McLean, Home to the Harbor, part of the off-season series. Not Your Average Hot Guy by Gwenda Bond. Apocalypse. All Kelly wanted was a quiet weekend with her best friend. She promised she could handle running her family's escape room business while her mom was out of town. Instead, a satanic cult shows up, claiming that the prop spellbook in one of the rooms is the real deal, and they needed to summon the right hand of the devil. But when the summoning reveals Luke, a handsome demon in a leather jacket who offers to help Callie stop the cult from destroying the world, her night goes from weird to completely bizarre. As the group tries to stay one step ahead of the cult, Callie finds herself drawn to the annoying and annoyingly handsome Luke. But what Callie doesn't know is that Luke is none other than Luke Morningstar, Prince of Hell and son of the devil himself. Callie never had time for love, and with the apocalypse coming closer, is there room for romance when all hell is about to break loose? Well, that's an interesting premise. I might actually have to read that one. That sounds interesting. The Fell, a novel by Sarah Moss. boom, boom, boom. At dusk on a November evening, a woman slips through her garden gate and turns up the hill. Kate is in the middle of a 2-week mandatory quarantine period, a true lockdown. But she can't take it anymore. The closeness of the air in her small house, the confinement, and anyway, the moor will be deserted at this time. Nobody need ever know she stepped out. Kate planned only a quick walk, a stretch of the legs, a breath of fresh air, on paths she knows too well. But somehow she falls, injured, unable to move. She sees that her short, furtive stroll will become a mountain rescue operation, maybe even a missing persons case. Sarah Moss's The Fell is a story of mutual responsibility, personal freedom, and compassion. Suspenseful, witty, and wise, it asks probing questions about how close so many people live to the edge, and about who we are in the world, who we are to our neighbors, and who we become when the world demands we shut ourselves away. So already we're starting to get quarantine fiction. No, it was coming. Somebody's Home by Kyra Rauda. Lock your doors, close the blinds, and pretend that you're safe. So I'm not going to read the blurb because there is a trigger warning for domestic violence and trigger warning for miscarriage. Listening Still, a novel by Anne Griffin. Jeannie Masterson offers a vital service for grieving families in Kilcross, Ireland, sharing revelations between the living and the dead. It's a talent she inherited from her father, the town's undertaker, and she shoulders the responsibility with grace. Now her father wants to retire, leaving the business to Jeannie and her husband Niall. While Jeannie is grateful to have been bestowed with a life's calling, listening to the dead nonetheless takes an emotional toll on her. Voicing regrets and things better left unsaid is easier with her father's help and guidance, and she doesn't want to perform the task alone, much less run the business. As a teenager, she followed her family's expectations, sacrificing her first love and an opportunity to discover life beyond caring for the undead. And if the dead have imparted anything to Jeannie, it's that life is too short. But before she can begin to figure out her heart's desire, Jeannie will have to confront the truth about her marriage, her family, and the uncanny ability that has become more of a curse than a blessing. We still got a lot of books to go, people. The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. It's kind of really neat 90s-esque aesthetic, which makes sense considering this takes place on New Year's Eve 1999, right before Y2K is expected to bring about chaos. Oh, and it's about an attack at a Blockbuster, and the suspect flees and is never found, and 15 years later, more teenage employees are attacked at an ice cream store in the same town, and again, only one makes it out alive. Yeah, there's only one that survives, and this seems to be a generational. The aftermath of the latest crime, 3 lives intersect. The lone survivor of the Blockbuster massacre, who's forced to relive the horrors of the tragedy, the brother of the fugitive accused, who's convinced the police have the wrong suspect, and FBI agent Sarah Keller, who must delve into the secrets of both nights, stirring up memories of teen love and lies to uncover the truth about the murders on the night shift. That sounds interesting. Rosie Walsh, The Love of My Life. I have held you at night for 10 years, and I didn't even know your name. We have a child together, a dog, a house. Who are you? Interesting. Nine Lives a Novel. If you're on the list, someone wants you dead. Look. 9 strangers receive a list with their names on it in the mail. Nothing else, just a list of names on a single sheet of paper. None of the 9 people know or have ever met the others on the list. They dismiss it as junk mail, a fluke, until very, very bad things begin happening to people on that list. First, a well-liked old man is drowned on a beach in the small town of Kennewick, Maine. Then a father is shot in the back while running through his quiet neighborhood in suburban Massachusetts. A frightening pattern is emerging, but what do these 9 people have in common? Their professions range from oncology nurse to aspiring actor, and they're located all over the country. So why are they all on the list, and who sent it? FBI agent Jessica Winslow, who is on the list herself, is determined to find out. Could there be some dark secret that binds them all together, or is this the work of a murderous madman? As the mysterious sender stalks these 9 strangers, they find themselves constantly looking over their shoulders, wondering who will be crossed off next. Let's see. This is a true crime book, Shadow Man, an elusive psycho killer and the birth of FBI profiling. The largely unknown story of the very first time the FBI created a criminal profile to capture a killer. June 25th, 1973, a 7-year-old girl went missing from the Montana campground where her family was vacationing. Someone had slit open the back of her tent and snatched her from under their noses. None of the family members had seen or heard anything. Susie Yeager had vanished into thin air, plucked by a shadow. The largest manhunt in the state's history ensued. As days stretched into weeks and weeks into months, Special Agent Pete Dunbar sought help from FBI headquarters in Quantico, Virginia, where 2 agents had hatched a radical new idea. What if criminals left a psychological trail that would lead us to them? Patrick Mullaney and Howard Teton? Okay, I just heard, tires squealing noise, so yeah. I created the behavioral science unit to explore this new voodoo they called criminal profiling. They built the first profile of an unknown subject, the unsub. Anyone who's watched Criminal Minds knows that word. Who snatched Susie Yeager and another victim. Their deductions led to the capture of a cunning and savage serial killer. The victims had closure, and police work would never be the same. Includes 16 pages of photos. Interesting book. It'll do well here because true crime is one of the big things in this area. Black Ops: The Life of a CIA Shadow Warrior by Rick Crotto, CIA counterterrorist chief of operations, retired. A memoir by the highest-ranking covert warrior to lift the veil of secrecy and offer a glimpse into the shadow wars that America has fought since the Vietnam era. Interesting if you're interested in that super spy stuff. The Way From Here, a novel by Jane Cochran. 3 generations of women, 3 generations worth of secrets. Will a cache of letters from beyond the grave unravel them all? The answer lies at the heart of this addictive and atmospheric novel from the author of The House of Brides. I cannot read. Okay. In Love, a memoir of love and loss by Amy Dean. An illuminating story of 2 people whose love leads them to find a courageous way to part. It's about Alzheimer's. The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek. The folks of Troublesome Creek have had to scrap for everything except books, that is. Thanks to Roosevelt's Kentucky Pack Horse Library Project, Troublesome's got its very own traveling librarian, Cussie Mary Carter. Cussie's not only a bookwoman, however, she's also the last of her kind. Her skin a shade of blue, unlike most anyone else. Not everyone is keen on Cussie's family or the government's new book program, and along her treacherous route, Cussie faces doubters at every turn. If Cussie wants to bring the joy of books to the complex, hard-scrabble Kentuckians, she's going to have to confront dangers and prejudice as old as the Appalachians and suspicion as deep as the Holla. Inspired by true blue-skinned people of Kentucky and the brave and dedicated Kentucky Packhorse Library Service of the 1930s, The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek is a story of raw courage, fierce strength, and one woman's belief that books can carry us anywhere, even back home. I've heard things about this one. Good things. I've heard that it was very well researched. Chorus, a novel by Rebecca Kaufman. The seven Shaw siblings have long been haunted by two early and profoundly consequential events, told in turns from the early 20th century through the 1950s. The story builds as each sibling relays their own versions of the memories that surround both their mother's mysterious death and the circumstances of one sister's scandalous teenage pregnancy. As they move into adulthood, the siblings assume new roles. Caretaker to their aging father, addict, enabler, academic, decorated veteran, widow, and mothers and fathers to the next generation. Entangled in a family knot, the Shaw siblings face divorce, drama, and death, while haunted by a mother who was never truly there. Through this lens, they all seek not only to understand how their deaths shaped their family, but also to illuminate the insoluble nature of the many familial experiences we all encounter. The concept of home, the tenacity that is a family's love, and the unexpected ways through which healing can occur. Oh, I've heard of this one. I do believe that this, yes. Hills Half Acre. The untold story of the Benders, a serial killer family on the American frontier. In 1873, the people of Labette County, Kansas, made a grisly discovery. I do believe this may have actually been... Now we know where that saying comes from. One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. I'm horrible with names. New York Times bestselling author of the modern classic In 5 Years returns with a moving and unforgettable exploration of the powerful bond between mother and daughter set on the breathtaking Amalfi Coast. Only a few more books left. Oh no, there's only one book left. Cues, Small Signals, Incredible Impact by Vanessa von Edwards. It's not enough to have great ideas, you also need to know how to communicate them. So this is about body language and reading body language. So, well, that is all the books that came in at the moment. I'm going to post this up on YouTube as well, so we will see you guys later. Don't forget to check out our TikTok page so you can see all of our other videos that we do. Check out our YouTube to see other videos that we do that are longer than TikToks. We also have a Facebook and Instagram. Facebook has all of our events that are upcoming on it. Hope you guys have a nice day.